I just want to thank my colleagues on Pathways. A couple of them are out there, but I know Meg's here. Where's Phoebe? Rachel and Katie, who's going to be up here in a minute. There she is. Just want to thank you for the great work you're doing. And Jack Yates, who's here today, who's a wonderful advisor, and I call him a thought leader, for those of you that don't know Jack. But I just want to welcome you. I'm the executive director of the ARC of Massachusetts. We got a little different schedule, so I came up earlier than planned, but just to say hello and thank you for being here. And I want to especially thank the grantees. Really looking forward to hear your things, your presentations, things. Okay, I guess I should have practiced. It really makes a difference in the community. It makes a difference for us in the hope we have of full inclusion and of acceptance, right? We all want to be accepted. We all want to feel okay, and that's a human thing, right? It's not about just disability. So, and you're making that happen in your work, and just want to thank you. So, Katie's going to come up to do the rest of the welcome and introduce our partner at DDS, which I'm thrilled that this is a partnership project. And it's been since 2012. I shouldn't say that too loudly, but it's been a great success working with the Department of Developmental Services, as well as we worked with UMass, and we have Kristen Clifford here, who did some evaluations for years and really appreciate the work. I should say, I'm sorry, the UMass Chan Center, you said. And Shriver Center. So without further ado, Katie, our project director, who's done an awesome job leading the project.
Thank you, Leo. I also want to thank everyone for your patience and for coming all the way to Natick today. Everybody does have a copy of the agenda for the day in front of you in your packets. You can reference that. We are running a little bit behind schedule, so things might be bumped about 15 minutes or so based on that. We also have the visual schedule on your packet on the screen. After some more of our introductions, Leo started already, but we're going to hear from our 7 community partners and hear about these friendship grants, and that's why we're here today. We're all super excited for that. Followed those presentations, we'll have a buffet-styled lunch together. There'll be some nice time for networking, and then we're thrilled to come back from lunch energized with a musical performance from Plugged In Bands, so we can't wait for that as well. And at the end of the day, we'll have a final wrap-up and close, and we'll plan for a little bit after 1 probably at this time. Just a few other logistics to share. If you haven't found them already, accessible bathrooms are down the hall. There to the left, there's a hallway that says Life, and there is a bathroom down there. There is also a set back through the lobby to the right where you first walked in as well. There's also quiet space available in the lobby and off that area as well if you need that as well. We do ask at this time you silence your phones because we're going to get started soon, and that people remain quiet throughout the presentations. Everybody has a lot to share in a short amount of time, so we want to be able to really hear and celebrate all of the great efforts of our community partners. So just to give some of you an overview of Pathways to Friendship, particularly those of you that are new to our network. Leo talked a little bit about this. Pathways to Friendship is a social inclusion initiative, and it did begin its formal efforts in 2012, which is amazing. And it's been underneath the auspices of the ARC of Massachusetts, and it's a collaborative effort with the Department of Developmental Services. Since then, over the past 12 years, we've provided education, research, and consultation to families, individuals, and organizations across the Commonwealth. Our primary goal is to build capacity for belonging, inclusion, and friendship in our communities. And we aim to address the risks of isolation and loneliness that people with disabilities experience. Now, our strategic efforts are focused on fostering freely given relationships between people with and without disabilities. Because by building these connections in the community, we work together to change systemic and societal separateness, and we are advancing diversity, social equity, and inclusion at the highest levels. Now, last summer, we began to launch our 2024 Community Bridging Grants, which is why we're here today. This was a new strategy for us to outreach and engage community organizations to build their own capacities to create these opportunities for friendships for people that receive services within DDS and other citizens that they serve through their programs. Now, when we rolled this out, we were surprised. We received 70 proposals. It was really amazing. And today we're here with the distinct pleasure to hear from the 7 awardees. Before we do get started on these outcomes, I want to take a moment to recognize again these grants are made possible by the commitment of our leadership. So we are very fortunate to have leaders that hold a vision of community where everyone is included, and people with disabilities have a variety of valued roles in the community, including the very valued role of friend. So the ARC of Massachusetts, Leo Sarkisian already introduced himself, but in addition to the ARC, the Department of Developmental Services is also the driving force in the support for all of these experiences to be possible. So now I have the pleasure that I want to be able to welcome Ellen Killicarson from DDS with us as well.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, and I'm happy to be included today in this. It's wonderful to have this opportunity to hear from all of you about your efforts, your successes, and your challenges. This kind of collective and peer learning is the best kind of learning, I think. I'd like to extend a special thank you to the ARC and their dedicated team. I have the pleasure of knowing Katie, Rachel, and Megan. I know there's others who are committed to advancing inclusion at the highest level. Their efforts in making inclusion a priority are commendable. Through the initiatives of conducting lots of extensive outreach, providing education and training, creating accessible environments, fostering collaborative thinking, and celebrating the successes that have made strides in promoting inclusion. And this includes all of you and the work you've done over the last year. So thank you. We count on the efforts to lead to friendship between people with disabilities and people without disabilities. And it is very important. And it's hard to find a lot of people, and it's even harder for people with disabilities to find friendships. But it's so important to our well-being and for our goals to have a good life. I was fortunate to go to the Inclusion Summit last week in Pittsfield, and it was incredibly enriching. I was so impressed with the folks that were there from the community. Some of you are here today. And I was very impressed with the keynote speaker, Lisa Drennan, who is here today, too. I'm hoping that over time, our collective efforts towards inclusion will reach a point where we don't need to do this intentional work any longer. And that we will have fully welcoming, inclusive, and equitable experiences for everyone in our communities and beyond. But right now, we'll focus on inclusion. We'll move closer to a future where everyone feels valued and embraced, regardless of their differences. So let's keep striving for a vision, celebrating our successes along the way, and learning from every challenge that we do encounter. So I just want to thank all of you for your dedication and commitment to this really important work. So thank you.
So thank you, Ellen. We're about to get started with our community presentations. I do want to first call your attention to the colorful stack of sticky notes or Post-its on your table. Each one has a name and a color that matches the community organization that we'll hear from. These are actually for all of you to make reflections. You know, if you have a question you want to ask, or you just want to provide a positive affirmation about the work that they're doing, please jot it down. Due to our tight program, and we're not going to have a ton of time for Q&A or discussion, or else we'd be here probably till midnight because there's so many great things going on. So this gives us the opportunity to share feedback with all of these community organizations. So get your sticky notes ready, jot down while listening. Throughout lunch, we will add our sticky notes to the organizations on the wall, so we'll have time for that. Each of our community organizations will now be introduced by their Pathways to Friendship facilitator, who had a great pleasure of working with them throughout this year. So to start, Meg Gatos will kick us off with some great stories of friendship in Western Mass.
Good morning. My name is Meg Gaddis, and I'm so happy to be here and to be able to meet so many of you in person. This is very exciting. Virtual has been extremely helpful, but it's so lovely to see everybody in person today. So I have had the great pleasure for the last several months of working with two great community organizations from Massachusetts. And our first organization that's up first is Minor Combat. And they deserve a huge applause because they drove all the way from North Adams this morning. So, yeah, that's huge, right? So if you ladies want to come up, their presentation is going to be first. So Minor Combat is an organization that is fitness program gym in North Adams, and they are one of our grantee winners. So I'd like to introduce Becky Minor and Jody Botto. Hi. So you can turn this, just did they show you with the arrow down to go to the next slide. So
Okay, so instead of a PowerPoint, because we're not good at that, we put a video together. We took pictures and videos at every class. If you don't know, we just finished a 20-week series partnering individuals with our members that come to the gym. It was a really fun time, and we're really sad that we're not on week 21 as of yesterday. We didn't have anything to do. All right, so we'll pause it in between so that we can show you guys the slides. Oh. There we go. I'll just give you. Oh, sorry. No. Let's just start it over. This is why they were like, we'll just make you guys go first. Okay. Now we know how to pause it. There, now you can go ahead and read. Group fitness format, encourage members socialize while working in small groups. Beginning each class as a large group, allowing us to reconnect each week. Members taking ownership of class by demonstrating, leading, planning each session. And I will let you know that this is exactly what we do at our gym anyway.
Every class.
It's the same thing. Oops. So.
So Rachel, we need you.
Okay.
Okay, you want to go to the next slide?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Yep, I did it too.
Now everyone else can feel less nervous when they come. You're welcome.
You're doing great.
No. How about we can let them watch the video and then we can always email it out.
What you ladies saying? What you got? What you got? Yep, there it is.
Yeah. This video is really the best way to describe what the last 20 weeks have been like. And you probably, most of you, unless you recognize friends in here, can't really tell who's members and who's individuals coming for the program, right? It's me and Harriet. Oh yeah, Sonia's pregnant, so we got her.
We had a little baby shower.
Okay. All right, that's it. So, do you want us to just answer questions or touch on anything, or?
I would love for you ladies to talk a little bit about the friendship aspect
Yeah.
of what's been a result of the 20-week
Yeah.
program, and sort of how people have found their common interests and developed friendships.
Yeah. So we kind of have a unique situation, we both feel, in this particularly because we are a gym. So people are coming to the gym for those friendships already, right? You leave work, you come to the gym, and you're with people that are kind of set aside from every other place, and you just come, and and at minor combat, at any class, you feel that way. So regardless of your abilities or, where you are in walks of life, you just come there, and it's just a safe space to just mess around, work out, feel good about yourself. So the friendships took place there. So we had baby showers, we had parties, we had multiple birthdays. We had members who, we've exchanged phone numbers.
Yeah, the individuals that come have connected on Facebook. They text each other as they're coming in. They text us. And like all of us, we go to the gym after work. You've taken time away from your family and your life. So that's where we meet. That's where we spend time. I consider some of the closest people in my life the people that I spend an hour with a day at the gym, and sometimes 4 hours. But in our area, the transportation is very difficult. Berkshire County is spread out. We have members that drive a half an hour. It's hard to meet for coffee. It's hard to meet to go out after dinner. This is how you find socialization. And our members and our individuals that come have made plans outside of the gym to meet, maybe in Pittsfield, maybe to go to a dance party, maybe to go to Pride. Just to talk, just to chat with someone, to connect with our friend Tina on Facebook who started a new job. So all of our members that have met Tina in this group will touch base with her. She's going to the Special Olympics, I believe it's tomorrow. Is the Special Olympics tomorrow? So everyone's like rooting for her to go. So she's really made a new community that she maybe wouldn't have been able to touch base with if she didn't come to this program.
I just wanted to also mention the sense of confidence that comes for anybody that, people are nervous to go to the gym as it is, right? People think it's intimidating, unfortunately. So we had individuals come in that they may have limited mobility, but it's more of a nervous type thing. So you see them going from just standing there, observing, and I'm not sure what they can do, to like deadlifting. You saw it in the video. And then teaching. And then you have someone that's very quiet and doesn't move a lot in the beginning. And then we have a new person that comes in, and they're taking them around, showing them how to sledgehammer tires. So the confidence, they're leaving with that confidence. So.
Love it.
Thank you.
I'll miss seeing you guys every so often. I'll have to get back out to North Adams one of these days. Okay, moving right along. Thank you so much. Up next, we have Tracy Miller from Uplifting Art. And Uplifting Art is a business in Westfield. Tracy and Uplifting Art has been one of our other community partners, and we're thrilled to have her come today and show a little bit of her work and how she celebrates inclusion in her business. I know. And that's the clicker, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember now. A lot of things didn't load with my video. There's a picture that was there, another one. Anyway, hi, everyone. I have a pottery studio, and it's relatively new. I've been in business for 2 years. So this program really was in my second year, and it's been amazing. It's been so much fun. These three ladies are all buddies. They when I'm not there, like I've had to leave for a couple things like this, they let the other people in and they work together. So they definitely have made friendships, and they text each other and they know when someone else is coming. I'm going the wrong way again. Okay, there it is. So it's called Muddy Buddies, my initiative here. There it is. All right, so that's me, glazing pottery. Uplifting Art is about using art to lift yourself up. I mean, everybody no matter what your abilities are, have stressors in life, some more than others. So art is a great way to put aside the other cares and to get mindfully involved in something and grounded, and clay is great for that too. So these two just met that night, and I interviewed the one on the left. This was just this week, actually. Her name's Emily, and she spoke of being so happy that she was able to help someone else who didn't know as much about the studio, about the project, how to use the wheel. And the other girl has been there for 9 months, but she helped the other girl. So it was kind of cool. And it empowered her and made her feel good. Okay, so I also was able to hire someone because of this grant, and it was a person with a disability. And she worked with me for 6 months, part-time, like 3 hours, and then 3 hours another day. And she did amazing. We called it a studio tech. So she learned everything about pottery. And when she left, people were really, actually, I think that's the next slide, but someone gave her a gift when she left for her next job, and some flowers. It was nice because she was totally into gardening. And then the other thing was, of course, the financial aspect of coming is a big deal for people. So we let them come in with the option to pay or tuition free, pay what they could. But everybody took the free. I would have. And of course, we wanted friendships to grow, and I think there's one more. So that was our age group that we were targeting, 14 and older, although others did come. And we tried to, our first thing was really looking at the physical space. Did we have it set up in a way that people could get through in a wheelchair, or we had a ramp already, we had a handicap accessible bathroom, but we had kind of cramped space. So we moved our tables and we got different seating and opened it up more. And everybody benefited from that. They commented on how organized it got after the helper started. She helped me get organized. I don't know where I'm pointing. Is it supposed to light up? Oh, there it goes. So this is the girl I hired, her work desk. She didn't want to be identified, so we'll call her Z. So she benefited by getting the extra cash, and she found that she made friendships, and everybody enjoyed her assistance while she was there. And she wrote that I did a little, like a survey, an online survey I sent out, and she said, I will always cherish the memories and experiences gained here. So that's where she worked a little bit, at that desk. And then there is a video with this that is going to pop up eventually, but does not play. But this is Angelina. I think it's this one. Oh, I had to do that. She is very proud of what she does there, and she's nervous, though. Like, processing directions is hard for her. So she'll stop and she'll be like, what am I doing wrong? I don't know what to do next. But she's done it. She's already done it, but she forgets. So I think she just gets nervous that it's not going to come out perfect. But on the wheel here, which I don't know, it's not going to play, she had to wire off this plate, and that was her first plate she ever made. And she got to like halfway through, and she was afraid it was going to cut into the piece. So the wire, you have to hold it really tight and down. And she stopped in the middle, and she's like, can you finish it for me? I'm scared. And I'm like, you got this. You can do it. And that's just what that's showing. She did finish it, and it was fine. So it was a confidence booster for her. And here's Angie talking to Desiree, actually. They wanted to make teapots. They were determined that they could do it, and it's kind of an extensive project for beginners. There's a lot to think about, and you have to do a lot of pieces all at the same night. So time was kind of a thing, but they did it. They managed to do it, and there's kind of like, that's the beginning. After they assembled it, then they have the glazed later after it was fired once, and now it has to go back through the kiln to get the finishing, and it'll be the normal glossy pottery. So there's quite a process. So you can't just come once to make something. You have to be able to attend a few times. So this is a mom and daughter that a person taking a class referred to me, and she said, when I asked her what she liked about the program, I don't even know if I can see it. It's essential to build inclusion, empower people with disabilities, and this experience feels close and personal, individualized, and you meet us where we're at. So that was what the mom in the wheelchair there, she said. And then, of course, having her young daughter, she's in her early 20s, she was all concerned about how she would benefit from it. So, and she was so excited to do the wheel too. Anyways, she said that brought back memories from school that she forgot about. So she loved pottery in school, and she wasn't expecting to meet another person who didn't know everything, and that made her feel comfortable and also empowered her by helping the other person on the wheel, which I already mentioned. This is Ted. We added a new part to our program. I don't know how my time is. Are you timing me, Jim? 1 minute? Okay. So we started doing paint your own pottery, and we bought some pieces so that to meet different abilities, if someone wanted to come in and just paint, they could. And Ted really took off with that. Those are a couple of his pieces. But what he likes about the program is it's peaceful. And there he is at his job. We ran into him in the community, and we're chatting outside with him for a while, my husband and I. And Shannon also came to us already knowing how to do pottery, but she had the challenge of money that we noted. She didn't even know I had this program, but I was able to tell that she was on the call with her mom, and she was talking about how she was going to get there, making appointments with the van. So I asked her if she identified as having a disability, and she's like, yeah, I do. Why? And so then I told her about the program, and she was so excited. And on top of, the financial need, she lost her job the next week. So that was huge. And then she lost a person in her building, passed away she found out that morning on her way to come to us. So there were times that we had really good chances to have good conversations and encourage her. And this is almost my last slide. So that is a piece of equipment I would love to get. Tamara cannot work at a wheel because her arms would have to be braced on her body, and she'd also have to get under the wheel. And I don't have anything like that. We're going to try something, but it's $4,000 for that piece of equipment. I did not get it, but I got some other things that were good for people with strength issues. But goals are just to keep being able to do it and keep combating loneliness in the community. And these are some of the faces of people who have come. And these ladies with the scarves on their heads, I forget what it's called. They were the first ones to try the paint your own pottery. They were there the first week that we had it. They saw it and came. So it was great. It was really great. Everybody has a good time there. That's it.
Thanks so much, Trace. We appreciate all your hard work. It looks like such a lovely pottery studio. I'm going to have to pop out there to Westfield one of these days and see everybody. Without further ado, I want to introduce my colleague Phoebe Goodman, and she's going to introduce her community partners.
Hello, everyone. I have the pleasure of introducing our Metro partners. First, I'd like to introduce Open Door Theater, which has been making accessible theater on both sides of the curtain since 1980. Open Door Theater leads the way in producing fully accessible theater experiences with a diverse cast and crew. And so I'd like to welcome Sam Gould, the president and executive producer at Open Door Theater, to share the outcomes of their amazing community bridging grant.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this is just the down button.
The down button, got it, okay. So in spaces like this, I like to visually identify myself because I have trouble seeing from the back of the room. So I'm Sam Gould. I'm an Ashkenazi Jewish woman with salt and pepper hair pulled into a top knot, and I'm twinning with my colleague Becca. We're both wearing our Wizard of Oz rainbow logo shirts. And since Becca, one of our actors, was good enough to come with me this morning, I'm going to pivot a little bit and not really go through all my slides and then talk to Becca a little bit so that you guys get a sense of what we do at Open Door. So, excuse me, we are a theater that's been around since 1980 with a mission of access and inclusion and integration. And in the photo you see there, a woman is dancing with her daughter, and that photo is 10 years old, and they came back again for our last production of Wizard of Oz. We're open to anybody 9 and up by audition. This one just gives you a snapshot. Our last show was Wizard of Oz, and we had 60 cast members, 70 of whom identify with disabilities, another 100 people backstage. 20-30% identify with disabilities, and we had 25% auditioners identifying as non-white. I'm going to skip the rest of it. Here's just some photos of our past shows. I just wanted to give you a flavor. In the top right photo over there, my right, your left, sorry, top left, is Hooverville from Annie, so people angrily shaking their fists. Top, my left, your right, is 2 gentlemen who are neurodiverse, and they're having a sword fight in Cinderella. In the middle, we have a robust and colorful group of pirates doing the Tarantella. The bottom, my right, your left, is a photo from The Wizard of Oz. That's our actor, Nick Giovinazzo. He's playing the coroner, and in fact, his mother's second cousin played the coroner in the original Wizard of Oz, so that was pretty cool. This is our cast photo from The Lightning Thief. We did an outdoor show in 2022 because of COVID. That was hot, huh, Becca? That was really hot. And then the SpongeBob musical is our colorful, diverse cast, and one service dog on stage singing the opening number. I just have an award page. I'm not going to go over them, but just to tell you, we're not just a youth social group. We are putting on award-winning theater. And what we do is we don't just invite people into our space. That's not what inclusion means to us. We build our performances to be disability-centered and include the input of our cast and crew every year to increase our access. All of our shows are interpreted in American Sign Language. This past year, we had a deaf actor playing the wizard. I'll show you photos of that in a second. We have all of our performances with a director of artistic sign language, and this year we had a 4-interpreter team because it was Wizard of Oz. We needed Dorothy and 3 friends. All of our performances are open captioned, so we project the dialogue onto the proscenium walls so that everybody can follow along, and we illustrate them to match the set. And then all of our performances have audio description for some of the performances. And this year we had a record number of deaf-blind participants, and we had some tactile tours. I'll show you a photo of that in a sec. And all of our performances are sensory-friendly. We do a relaxed format for all of our performances. So the best thing we can do for that is just welcoming a neurodiverse crew into our space and allowing people to get up and walk around, and we have a live feed of the show.
But we do a pre-show and that we take that into account. And then the training. We train our cast and crew in best practices. So I'll tell you about that in just a sec. These photos, we have the cat and hat, as you can see in the top left photo with our caption screen, and then next to that is the woman who was ASL signing for Dorothy in front of the caption screen for Wizard of Oz. Below her is the actor that was playing the wizard, that's Leandra Fitta, and below him is our audio describer for the show that was laying down the pre-show audio description track, and then the bottom picture there on the left is our tactile pre-show tour, where we're going over some set design with some audience members. This particular audience member actually flew in from North Carolina because she knew we were doing an accessible show for her. Above that, on the right side of the screen, we have the 2 deaf actors in Cinderella who are acting out their parts in the ball with their voices, the voice actors on either side of them. That top corner right picture, it's kind of a small picture, but that was our lineup for our audio / ASL / sensory pre-show. So we describe the actors, go over them in costume but out of character so that the audience can get used to what's going to happen. Below them is SpongeBob. This was a deaf actor, and all of her acolytes in that show learned ASL, so they would sign to her in the scene. And then next to them is our Wizard of Oz 4-person team. We do mentorship for our ASL team, so this is a couple new ASL interpreters of color who we're mentoring on the stage there. And then below that is what we call handimations. Our wizard was deaf, so we had ASL hand animation so that when he's booming, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, like green lightning is shooting out of his fingers. It was very cool. It was very cool. And then below that is, we did Seussical, and there's an actor playing JoJo who's deaf, and he's signing the role while the actor next to him is singing the role. Just to hit for a second, what we do is we train our cast and crew. So originally we had outsourced that to the Autism Alliance for Metro West back in 2013. But we found that that was disenfranchising for our actors on the spectrum and our participants on the spectrum. So we now build our own, and we do it as a group to run our own cast and crew training, and then we train all of our volunteers. So the cast and crew training is kind of on best practices and access. It's also kind of on disability justice. It's kind of on speak your own truth, and it's a really empowering day. That's my favorite rehearsal that we have every year. We also teach our cast some basic ASL and deaf culture because we have deaf actors in our performances. And then when we couldn't find an ASL class, we had to start a quarterly ASL class because our actors wanted to learn more ASL to communicate with each other. Essential considerations when you're building a program like this: cultural competency. You want to make sure that your access is matching the tone of the piece. You want to always, always, always center disabled stakeholders. You always want to build from the ground up. You don't want to start, to try and retrofit your access. And our budget is about 25% allocated to access, so that's a priority for us. And then our facilities rental is another 25%, so it's equal to our space costs. And then personnel, making sure that we're working with qualified service providers and using best practices. And we consume a lot of accessible art as a community. We publish each other's materials, and everybody goes to see the other stuff that's going around. And we train on this in the community as well. Don't think that accessibility is a one and done. You have to take it one step at a time. You have to not be afraid to make mistakes, and you have to have it be a board buy-in and a community buy-in and a cultural, way of life. For us, it's a life choice. And ADA compliance is really base minimum. I'm going to go over these things really quick because I want to talk to Becca. This is our photos from Wizard of Oz. So that's our huge cast, one of whom is poking through the top of the gate, the gateman. And then I want to say Pathways to Friendship. Not only are you guys really great about the funding and the bringing us all together and the building a bridge for the community, but you guys have the best logo out there. I just have to say, that is, in fact, the best logo with the rainbow tree. The picture below on the left is 3 gentlemen with Down syndrome and a mentor of theirs on the show. in the screaming yellow jacket. In the middle are a bunch of munchkins. I think, Becca, you're in there, but it's too small for me to see where you're in there. Waving to them as they take off. And then the flowers, they were built by another art organization in the community, which was great. We outsourced some of our prop building to another group that has people with disabilities as making art together. And what, Art for All? Is that what it's called? Becca's in that group too, and Becca made some of the flowers. And then below them is a bunch of Open Door veterans who have been in our shows for years and years and years. And I especially love the rainbow suit that Steve Petter is wearing in that one. And then the two Amy's, they were buddies in the show, and so they made shirts for themselves, Amy 1 and Amy 2. And then the next photo is another group of some of our adults who have been with us forever. The woman in the green is on our board, and Evie actually started Open Door as a child and has since gone through some extreme diagnoses, and she initially started her program as a non-disabled person, and now she's identifies as a disabled adult as well. So those are our photos from Wizard of Oz. So what I wanted to ask Becca is, you want to come over to the mic? I wanted to ask you, Becca's a woman of a few words but lots of dance moves, but I asked her if she would dance for you guys, and she said not unless you pay her. I'm teasing. So I want to ask Becca, how do you feel when you do an Open Door show?
Dancing.
Dancing is your favorite part of Open Door shows? Yeah. Becca's an awesome dancer. And what's the best part of an Open Door show?
Happy.
It makes you feel happy, yes. And have you made any friends doing Open Door? So Alan is another Open Door veteran. So Becca has been doing Open Door, I think, since Seussical, which was 2000, 5 years. And Alan is probably 1 year more than Becca. And so Alan and Becca do the shows together. And actually, Alan will be so excited to go to the prom next year, don't you think? Whenever we have a ball or a prom, Alan gets dressed up to the nines. He loves it. It's his favorite thing. So I think we'll have a good time doing the show next year. Is there anything else that you want to say about Open Door? No. Okay. And we're done. Thank you. You want to stand with me? For Mom's take a picture? Thanks. We're all together.
Sorry, we're doing a photo op.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
I had the pleasure of going to see Wizard of Oz this year and so thoroughly enjoyed the production. I'm someone who loves community theater and was part of my local community theater growing up. So I can really say it was one of the best productions I've ever seen at any type of community theater. It was really next level. So yeah, bravo. And make sure you check out what they're up to next season for productions. Next up, I want to welcome Kate DeAngelis. Kate is the Therapeutic Recreation Specialist with Lexington Recreation Department, and with their Community Bridging Grant, the Lexington Community Center aims to create a coffee shop style space where people can get to know one another better and foster opportunities for connection. And so I'd like to welcome up Kate DeAngelis.
Perfect, thank you. Hi everyone, can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. As Phoebe said, I'm from Lexington Recreation, and I do see some faces from Lexington High School and just the town in general, and some volunteers that we've had work with us, so it's so nice to see some fun faces. So the program that we are building is called Lex Be Friends Mug Club. In Lexington, we love to name anything that we can with the word Lexington. So we had to incorporate it somehow. And the Mug Club idea is really stemming from wanting to create a space where people feel they are a part of something. They're a part of a club. They can come to this coffee shop and they're a regular there and can access their typical mug that they usually get and really have a space that they belong in. So a little bit about the project. The mission of this club is to be a space for individuals with and without disabilities to foster vocational skills and also build relationships between one another. We have a very active community center where we have individuals of all ages, all backgrounds, all abilities, so it'll be a really great space to foster these relationships. And our vision, it's a little bit long, so I won't read it word for everyone, but it really talks about that this space will be volunteer run and free of charge, so that financial instances are not a burden for anyone who is looking to come to the shop and sit and have a cup of coffee with friends. Individuals with and without disabilities will learn job skills and be able to practice these skills in the coffee shop, helping with different tasks for daily operation. And the goal is to have a lot of different structured activities, but also non-structured opportunities for people to actively recreate and spend some leisure time with one another. So some of the identified goals that we have for this project is that individuals with disabilities will foster vocational skills. So we want to build a space that is supported where people can learn, how to come in on time and check in with supervisors, how to make the coffee, and really learn what they want to do and what they enjoy doing and being part of that space. We also want to see relationships form between individuals of all ages. So we are a community center for everyone, intergenerational, so we have the little kids from like 6 months old to individuals over 100 years old who come and access this space. So we want to be able to bridge these individuals together to create a really meaningful connection. We also want to establish a sense of community pride and camaraderie. So having a space where people can be proud to be from Lexington or to come visit Lexington and be a part of it and impact the space in their own way. And we really hope this will also foster independence. Through this project, I've noticed there's not a lot of opportunities where people can go into a space that's supported and safe, where they can learn how to create relationships and learn how to gain these job skills without having to be afraid of, messing up or being judged. So we really want them to be able to come in on their own and have these experiences for themselves. If this will work. Perfect. So the space for the coffee shop is going to be located inside of the Lexington Community Center. And raise your hand if you've been to the Lexington Community Center. That's awesome. And Malachi, I see you back there. I know you've been to the community center as well. But so it's a space that is really a hub for community connections. It's a space where we have people who come and they volunteer, they exercise, they participate in programs, and they build friendships with people they've already been connected with or have connected or will make connections with. So a few pictures up here that we have a picture of the building itself. That's the front of our community center. We do have an accessible walkway. It is also accessible via the MBTA, and we have local transportation called the Lexpress. We have a very active billiards room. Lots of pool players come to Lexington to play. Shout out to our senior men's league. They have won many championships. We also have ping pong tables, some outdoor exercise stations that are accessible. We have a very robust gardening area where the Lexington Field and Garden Club helps support the operations. And then we have this beautiful outdoor patio where people can come and have lunch. We have events where people might come and play instruments together. And it really is a space that was built to just bring everyone together and be able to actively or passively recreate and spend some leisure time. So the actual space for the coffee shop, you might have noticed that I keep saying we plan to do this. That is because the coffee shop is not up and running because I did not know how to open a coffee shop before this started. So it takes a little time, and we're really trying to be thoughtful so that it is sustainable and it's not something that just lasts a year. We want this to grow with the community and to stay as a place for everyone. So the pictures that I have up here are the actual space that is going to be used. So we have a seating area currently right now that's located outside of where the coffee shop space will be. And we hope to keep this because we notice that walking by, sometimes this is where people just go and take a seat and relax. We see people reading books. And then right here in the middle picture, that's the entrance to the coffee shop. There will not be a desk there always. That is going to be taken out, but it looks a lot bigger than it is. It's not the largest space ever. We're not going to be the next biggest Starbucks, but there is plenty of space for, our coffee shop station, the different equipment that we'll need, and we also really want to make sure that we're thoughtful in how we're designing it. So we have a few user groups that I'm going to talk about soon that are going to help us with the design so that it is accessible for a variety of abilities, for someone who might use a wheelchair, for someone who might have low vision. We really want to cater to everyone's needs so that it really is a fully accessible space. And this last picture is just another, it's kind of like a hallway within the room, and that'll be where the main coffee station is located, so where people are serving from. And this big blue blank wall, we are gonna have that be a full whiteboard wall where we have daily questions and conversation prompters, so that when people come in, they can try to start conversations with whoever's in there or the volunteers who are there that day. So why a coffee shop? And it's funny because I actually do not drink coffee myself. But historically, coffee shops have always been seen as a social meeting space. I feel like depicted in media and just when you're with your friends, everyone's like, hey, let's grab a cup of coffee, right? So knowing that that's where people congregate usually, that's kind of what sparked this idea. I also have a really big passion for creating volunteer and employment opportunities for individuals of all abilities, and I wanted there to be a space where people could learn these skills and then continue to bring them into the community. Because one thing about Lexington is everyone there is really excited and prideful to be from that town. And then a coffee shop also offers multiple types of leisure, right? You could sit there by yourself and read a book. You could sit there and have a conversation with someone. You could sit there and work on reading some emails. There's really opportunities for so many different things that you could do. And there's an opportunity for a lot of community building and fostering new relationships. The great thing too is we want people to feel connected to a space. That's why it's so great that we're able to have this outside of the community center, because we can really build all of those relationships that have formed there and bring them into this shop. And we want people to really feel connected to that space. And as I mentioned, people will have multiple roles, right? So you can come in as a patron, you can come in as a volunteer, you can come in as a visitor. There really is something for everyone to come and do and feel like they have that meaningful role there. It's also a safe space. So one thing that we've worked really hard on in the community center is being inclusive and accessible for everyone. We have, like I said, users of all ages, abilities, backgrounds, and it's really nice that people feel safe coming there, and we want to make sure we emulate this in our coffee shop. And it's going to be all ages, because you do not have to be a certain age to go to a coffee shop, right? So perfect space, anyone can go, all ages. There's no age requirements to go and enjoy and sit and enjoy a nice space. So I just pulled some quotes from an article that I found about why coffee shops are a great space to bring people together, and I will read them. And it says, coffee shops are an important part of the community. People can come together, fostering connection and providing a shared experience that promotes personal growth. Being by default social environments that are diverse and easily accessible, coffee shops offer countless opportunities for customers to engage with their peers, initiating and building strong bonds that last a lifetime. Raise your hand if you've ever met up with someone in a coffee shop. Right. So that's why it is the perfect place to do this. We all have been in one. I, who am not a coffee drinker, will go and enjoy a tea or grab a pastry and still enjoy myself and be able to build connections with the people that I'm going with. The next quote says, coffee and conversation create a space for individuals to come together, share their thoughts and experiences, and build meaningful connections. The act of sitting down for a cup of coffee encourages people to relax, open up, and engage in conversations that foster understanding, empathy, and friendship. I know all of us in this room are so busy, we have packed schedules, so really the act of sitting down and having a cup of coffee is not only self-care, but it's time that we can actually be engaged in what we're doing. So friendships will stem between all different roles and individuals, right? Well, they'll stem between volunteers, the patrons, and the building staff. And we plan to use established programming to build on these friendships and connections. So we have a lot of exercise programs that happen at our center. So we're going to encourage instructors of these programs to notice if there's any one-on-one connections forming, or to let everyone know, hey, after this yoga class, a few of us are going to go to the coffee shop upstairs and chat about the newest move that they taught us today in class. So it's really going to be designed for interaction with multiple styles of seating, standing, interactive questions, conversation topics at the tables, visual cues, and social stories for people who might have never been to a coffee shop or are not sure on how to start a conversation with someone and build a relationship. And we'll make sure it's accessible. As I said before, it's free. And then we also are accessible via the Lexpress and MBTA, so transportation is not a barrier. Some of the events that we talked about that we will have, so mug decorating for your mug club, open mic nights. I know Plugged In Music is here, so we will chat. Some art shows, book clubs. We run support groups for all different types of individuals, speed dating for friendship, and then movie discussion groups. So super quick, I know I'm running out of time, but we have some project partners who we work with. The Lab School, the Cotting School, Lexington High School, Lexington Human Services, and Lexington Council on Aging. They are all going to help promote and maintain this space and help us create it to be accessible, and so everyone has kind of a say in how it's created. So I'll go really, just some of the things that I learned from this project is I never knew how to open a coffee shop, and there's a little bit more that goes into it. You have to work with the Board of Health to make sure everything is up to code and if you need any permits. And I just also realized that there's not a lot of spaces like this that are safe and accessible for everyone that promote this type of communication and connection. And I think it's really important, especially post-COVID, that we have these spaces that people can go to. So some of the best practices that I would recommend is just really leaning on the partner. We are so lucky to have Phoebe as our advisor. She's available all the time, and I'm someone that likes to do everything on my own, and opening a coffee shop made me realize I cannot do everything on my own. So we're super excited. What's next is we hope to open by August 1st. So hope everyone can come join us and enjoy the space. We're super excited.
What's amazing about these programs is that not only are they experts on inclusion, but they really understand the significance of social connections and relationships and friendships. And on a personal level, I just love working with both of them. I'm going to miss our meetings. So I'd like to invite up Alex DeFranzo. Alex is the Executive Director of Pierce Park Sailing Center, whose mission is to foster inclusive empowerment through marine science and community sailing, which is just incredibly cool, right? And Alex and his team have been really thoughtful and creative about how to support friendship, particularly in the winter months, which is not easy for a sailing program to do. So I'm going to invite Alex to come on up and talk a little bit. It's just the down button there.
Okay. Thank you, Rachel. Okay. Good morning. I'm Alex DeFranzo from Pierce Park Sailing Center in East Boston, Massachusetts. Happy to be able to share a little bit about our program and this project that we've done together. We called it Friendships on the Harbor. For setting this up, our program's been around for 26 years now. It opened in '98. And sailing is really the main focus, but what we do is use it as a way to get people together and have a shared common activity that they can enjoy with each other. So connecting through that activity gives that kind of repeat chance to see the people that you've been with, do something that you have as a common interest, and sustain that after we have a program like this where the initial meet happens. Each year we teach about 2,600 people how to sail. We're mostly a youth development program, so we work with a lot of kids, but it's also for anybody of any age. Of course, anytime that anyone comes down, we want them to feel welcome and like they're a part of the program. Our setup is unique in that the dock is completely accessible, and so are all of the boats. So we have equipment so that anybody can sail at the tiller or control the sheets, which control the sails of the boat. We think that project-based learning is the best way to help connect people to each other because you have something to talk about and get to go through different kind of exciting experiences. I'm joined with Austin today, who's in the photo also here. We've been friends with each other since we were kids in this program. So we met like almost 20 years ago now as teenagers. And we sailed together for several summers, and in 2008, we survived a storm together. What was that? Oh, it was your chair, okay. Where there was we were out on an island trip, so we had gone to one of the Boston Harbor Islands, and then we were sailing back to the sailing center after a day out on the water. and a squall came in that we weren't expecting. So there was just like a wall of dark black clouds in the sky that kept getting closer and closer, and we knew that we couldn't do anything about it except continue to try to make our way home. And lightning started striking in the Conley container yard right next to us, and then on the other side in the airport, and there was like 50, 60 mile per hour gusts, and the boat was getting tipped over, and it was really scary. It was like one of the few times in my life where I felt like I could have actually died. We were all like surviving the experience. And there was 10 boats out there, and only 2 of us made it back without getting assistance from the Coast Guard or the State Police or someone else, and our boat was one of them. And that like, thanks, yeah. We were like 16 years old when this happened. You know, shared trauma is the ultimate bond, right? We almost died together. So we're together for life now. And Austin reminded me that some of the other people that were on the boat, it was me, him, his brother Andrew, and Elizabeth and Gianvante. Elizabeth has become an occupational therapist. Gianvante designs apps for accessibility, and I'm working at the Sailing Center. So all of us have like, you know, stayed close to this, and it's been an important part of our lives. This project has been great because it's given us the time and resources to focus on it during the off season especially, which is not usually a time when we're doing a ton of programming outside our usual slate. And it worked because we have a brand new facility in Pierce Park that we were able to host a lot of programming in. So here you can see we worked with a lot of different partners for this project. One of them was Triangle, which we have been working with for a long time. So a lot of participants that we knew through them already had been sailing a few times, so we were able to do navigation lessons and some other things that we can teach on land, while also having the chance just to keep getting together and seeing each other in December, January, February, when we don't usually sail a lot. We did about 16 program events over the course of this project with Triangle, Perkins, and we're about to do our 3rd event with Access to Community and Friendship, which Austin organized, and that's been like a really fantastic reconnection, and I know that it will continue on long after this program is complete. Realizations from the project, I think it's important to create new friendships, but also important to take the time to keep the friendships or connections that you've had from the past going. Good friendships sustain themselves, but I think having a common activity that you can all do together definitely really helps. Just something to be like, hey, do you want to go for a sail? You can meet up and hang out. And it's opened up our thinking about how we connect the different programs that we work with to each other too, to do more kind of like open enrollment and open programming where the different agencies, organizations, groups that we work with can meet each other and spend time with each other. Our best practices, we like to do everything intentional, but also organic. Like we set out our goal for what we want to achieve, but then don't try to force it. Do what feels right. And this project is really well aligned with that approach, I think, because we give people the opportunity to meet up and get to know each other, and some of them create bonds with each other. Create the space for success, taking the time to run this sort of programming. You have to plan and organize, and that takes time. But after the kind of seed is set, it grows on its own. And having the recurring stuff on the schedule where it's never just one time that everybody's getting together to meet, but we have multiple times that we go sailing together. If some of them happen to be very exciting, then that helps. And then people will keep staying in touch after. We're going to continue to work with all of the partners that we worked with during this program into this summer and into the future. Our past sailors, we want to take leadership on organizing events and staying connected. And we always are open if any of you ever want to come and program and go out sailing, connect with us. And then we run an open WhatsApp community for people to continue to communicate with each other after they meet at the Sailing Center. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Alex. Okay, so now I am happy to introduce Sandra Rizkala and Francis Hickey, right, from Plugged In Band program. Sandra is the director and co-founder. Oh yeah, they definitely deserve. Yeah. Oh, and Tom too. Oh, great, and Tom too. Oh, Oh, and great. So Sandra is the director and co-founder of Plugged In Band, co-founder with Tom Pugh, right? Who is also a musician. And Francis is the inclusion program coordinator. And Christian is a musician. Guest
artist.
Yeah, and guest artist.
And a longtime student of Plugged In.
That's right.
All right. And for those who don't know about Plugged In, it's a nonprofit music program whose goal is to create diverse, loving, and inclusive communities who are empowered to change the world. And I want to say I had an opportunity to go to a few of the open mic nights that you're going to hear about. And the Plugged In team created such a loving and supportive environment that everyone who was there really felt empowered to put themselves out there both musically and socially to connect with others. So I'm gonna pass it to you, including myself. Yeah, I got the nerve to go up there and play my guitar and sing, but I haven't watched the video.
And the beautiful thing is that after Rachel performed that week, someone who had only been an audience member, who is a parent of 2 former students, who for her whole life wanted to perform, Rachel gave her the confidence
All right.
the next time to perform at the open mic.
Not me. It's the environment that they create. All right, just down. Yep.
Playing videos and stuff.
Yep. The video. It should work if you just press the down button.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
There we get the next page.
Hi,
everyone.
We're here to support you.
Francis. Thank you. Appreciate it. Like Rachel said, my name is Francis Hickey. I am the inclusion coordinator at Plugged In Band Program. We are a nonprofit inclusion-based music organization located in Needham, Massachusetts. We've been around for 22 years. Right on. This is it the?
One more tab.
One more. No.
Yeah, let me see.
Hold, please.
Yep. That's weird.
Okay. There it is.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
there we
Yep,
go.
now it should work.
Cool, thank you. So just a little bit about what our open mic project was like. We had monthly free and inclusive open mics. As stated earlier, we are an inclusion-based program, so anyone who wants to participate in music and wants an opportunity to do it in an authentic setting is welcome to participate. We are open to community members of all ages and abilities. And one of the things that was really great about the open mic format is that we give participants an opportunity to expand not just performance opportunities by getting in front of an audience and playing music, but it also fosters a unique sense of collaboration that, to be honest, is much different even than being in a standard band program. More on that in a second. And our project also provided us an opportunity to build connection and friendships between those with and without disabilities. I'm going to do my best to provide verbal explanations of the pictures that we have in the slideshow. So here we have 2 participants of the open mic posing for a picture. One of them is holding up what I believe is a thank you card that was made by the individual on the right. This picture here, we have several open mic participants. So when we provided our open mic program, we wanted to provide a welcoming, nurturing environment with facilitators encouraging conversations and supporting musical performances. Free pizza for everyone, it's always a plus. And in addition to music, we also provided craft projects and puzzles at every table to encourage collaboration, spark conversations, and promote bonding between participants and audience members. We understand that the idea of getting up on stage and performing in front of people can be very intimidating, so we wanted to make sure that those who were in attendance who didn't feel comfortable performing still had a way to collaborate with others and form friendships, even if they didn't want to perform. One of the things, is it this slide? No, I think it's the next slide. So the music in this video is a live recording of a performer singing Wonder by Natalie Merchant at the open mic.
Woo! Just to see me stand over my bed disbelieving what they're seeing. They say I must be one of the wonders, God's own creation. And as far as they see, they can offer no explanation. Woo! Newspapers ask intimate questions, want confession. Reaching into my head to steal the glory of my story. They say I must be one of the wonders, God's own creation. And as far as they see, they can offer no explanation. Ooh, I believe fate smiled and destiny laughed as she came to my cradle. Though this child will be able, laughed as my body she lifted. Know this child will be gifted with love, with patience, and with faith. She'll be
No? So this here is a testimonial from a participant in the open mic, one of our disabled participants. He says, quote, "I like that I can perform in front of people with my own favorite music and also sit in with other people when they need a drummer or keyboard player to form an instant band. I have an opportunity to play with other musicians that I don't have at home." And this is something I think that's very unique about an open mic format as opposed to our standard band format, which is in conventional band-centric programming. Usually it sees the same group of individuals coming together every single week to prepare for a single performance at the end of the session. They're typically playing the same songs. And it's great, but when you're doing an open mic, it's different because you may be playing with a completely different set of musicians every single week. You may not be playing the same song twice in a row. And so it forces, well, forces is a bit strong. It inspires a different form of collaboration where oftentimes participants have to figure out songs on the fly. And what I've noticed from that format is, it's not uncommon when we have conventional band programming where some students are very stressed out by the idea of performing in front of an audience, particularly if they're new to the program. And when you're in an open mic setting, you kind of have to let go of that idea that everything is going to be perfect because you know going in that it's not going to be. And I've seen a sense of relaxation, and it's a more, I think, overall stress-free, low pressure situation for people to begin performing. So this here is a picture from one of our open mics. We have two participants. I believe this is one of the bands.
Is this the video?
Oh, this is the video.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here you go.
I walk on the roadside.
So some of our realizations from this project, obviously, music brings everyone together. This project has, I think, reaffirmed our view that inclusion, especially in a music space, is very important. And I think that goes to, not just for what being in a band and making music together can do for establishing a sense of community, but just from, if I can put more of my music educator cap on for a second, giving people the opportunity to make music in an authentic environment on stage in front of people, as opposed to solely being confined to a classroom, which for a lot of individuals, unfortunately, is kind of the extent of their music performance experience. And another realization is that we have seen a culture shift among students, staff, board members, volunteers in the community about how easy and rewarding it is for those with and without disabilities to connect meaningfully and with joy. Best practices: create a relaxed and fun environment, letting people know that they don't have to be perfect. Facilitate connections by asking what songs people want to perform, asking around if anyone else knows the song, and providing music support if necessary, which speaks back to the impromptu nature of an open mic. And what's next for us? We will definitely be continuing the open mic after the end of the Pathways grant. We'll be applying for additional grant funding. We will continue to come up with new ideas for facilitating connections and friendships. Bless you. And we also created a WhatsApp group for attendees of the open mic. We'll encourage more people to join the WhatsApp group and facilitate conversations around planning songs and performances together. So continuing the community that has been established at the open mic beyond the open mic. Thank you very much.
So you all are in for a treat, because after lunch, we are going to hear from Tom and Christian, who are going to perform for us a few songs. So now I'm going to pass it back to Katie, who is going to introduce our last grant partner.
Thank you. This is our 7th community organization, so there's so many different fun things, and I'm excited to all be able to chit-chat about them soon. But for now, I'm going to share or welcome the Old Colony YMCA. They've really been an exemplary partner for us in the Southeast. They have really been candid with their journey of inclusion as an organization over the last couple of years. And it's just been a great pleasure of mine to be able to work with these leaders, and they have such dedicated staff across their 7 branches. So it's really a big community organization. So with pleasure, I welcome Sarah Selman and Darcy Paiva to share about their Pathways efforts.
It should just be down.
Should be. And you're good on time, so.
Yeah, perfect.
You're good. We're all caught up, so you don't have to rush.
Thank you, Katie. Hello, everybody. For the Southeast, we wanted to present our community bridging project, which we titled Building a Bridge from K through 12 Friendships to a Lifetime of Opportunity. I wanted to give you permission as we start to stand up, sit down, whatever makes you happy. I know this is the last one, and we are between you and lunch, so feel free to move around. We, again, are from Old Colony Y. I am Sarah Selman.
And I am Darcy.
We'll take it away.
Awesome, thank you. So before we get going today on our project, we want to tell you a little bit about Old Colony. So Old Colony, our association, so we're one of the top 20 Ys in the United States in terms of size. We serve in 31 communities across Massachusetts, and in a typical year, we see anywhere between 140 and 150,000 individuals that take advantage of our services and our programs. So in addition to that, we are one of the largest human services providers in the Commonwealth,
And with over 40 childcare sites, we are the largest childcare provider in our region. So as you take a look at this map with very tiny letters on it, we're so sorry about that. But what makes Old Colony so unique is the fact that we have social services embedded into everything that we do. So we have our family stabilization programs, we have 3 emergency shelters, we have a mentoring program, we have our mental health clinic, and that really doesn't even tap the surface of resources and programs that we have. But what I want to point out is the fact that this really puts us in a unique position to be able to help individuals reach their fullest potential despite life and financial circumstances, despite religion, race, income, and physical and mental abilities. So we want to thank you before we move forward just for this opportunity, because this grant and this project really aligns with our mission and everything that we strive to do at Old Colony. So a little bit about our project. So as I had mentioned, so we are the leading childcare provider in Massachusetts. And because of that, we have really strong relationships with our school system. So our first goal was we wanted to build upon those relationships with the schools and with our direct support providers to identify friendship pairings between those that are neurodiverse and neurotypical through unified sports, things like recreational activities, clubs, anything that you can think of. And in doing so, give them a complimentary 3-month membership to help foster and develop those relationships. So we knew that in order to make that happen, we needed to train friendship facilitators. So friendship facilitators, those are the ones that are going to drive conversations between your participants, right? So if I'm a friendship facilitator, I'm saying, hey, Joey, I know you love soccer. Did you know that Billy over here loves soccer too? What's your favorite part about soccer? What are your favorite teams, right? And in doing so, help expand their social networks and through those shared interests, right? So then taking it a step further and saying, hey, Joey and Billy, you guys love soccer. Did you know that the Y is starting a soccer program in a couple of weeks? Maybe you guys should join it together and experience that together. So with these friendship pairings, what we wanted to do to help those friendships flourish and foster them is to launch walking clubs in the 4, what ended up being 5 branches that participated in this project with us. So, you know, we know that 1 in 5 individuals are neurodiverse, and at Old Colony, we want to make sure that our membership base and our program base reflects that ratio, right? And our goal with the walking club is we wanted to have that ratio, right? We wanted to engage at least 50 participants in our walking clubs, 10 being neurodiverse, 40 being neurotypical. We knew that those exact numbers are not realistic, but that's what we were striving for. So you'll see in the upper right-hand corner, that was our marketing flyer, and our tagline, the Y, better with a friend. It had some scan codes with information, and it led to the Pathways to Friendship videos, which were really helpful in describing to our community partners and our communities what we were trying to do. And just in the bottom right-hand corner, this is just a little slip, which we'll tell you a little bit more about, but we launched walking club parties in those branches, which was really successful.
Awesome. So when we thought about putting all of this into practice, we thought of Nailed It. Do you guys watch TV? Do you know the show? Right, there's a way that you see it unfolding in your head, and it looks like this beautiful unicorn. And then there's a way that it actually unfolds, and that's where the learnings happen, which is more like the realistic unicorn that you see on the side. That's how I would have made it. So the original thinking was we've got these great relationships with our public schools, and we know that in Unified Sports and Best Buddies, there must be clear friendship pairings. And we know that as you approach high school graduation and the age of 22, you're about to face major transition. So how do we really act on the why and sort of our place in the community is we're known to be a safety net, something to fall back on. So we wanted to give these friendship pairings resources and an expanded social network so that they could fall back on the why and all of the friendships they had made. Then you have the walk-in club. So how do we catch those in adulthood that might need more friendships? And we thought walking is just one of those really easy entry points into physical activity. It's not super scary. Most people can do it. And it's known to be a really social activity. So what really happened? I think a lot of those things did really happen, but what we learned is that we came in thinking that public schools were going to be like, yes, we know 40 different friendship pairings, we see them all the time in the hallways, and unfortunately, they weren't always easily identified by school personnel. We didn't see that aha moment and that realization of specific pairings that already existed in the schools. We had originally planned on going through athletics and working with Unified Sports and Best Buddies, and realized that Unified Sports are scheduled and busing is done by athletics, and then special education and a lot of those other departments do the other work. And to pull everyone together and have the conversation was challenging. It was taking more time than we were planning on. When we did, there was wonderful things that came out of it, but just a little bit more challenging with regards to time frame than we had originally thought. And then the other sort of unfortunate learning that we had is these social interactions and friendships were not always transcending Unified Sports. There was interaction in these programs that existed, but we didn't see a lot of interactions outside when people left that program. And so we really started to have some thinking and aha moments, and we'll get into that in a little bit. In terms of walk-in clubs, we wanted on the back end to use all of the rich groups and resources and community members that use our Ys all the time and say, of the group of 10 of you that use our Y all the time, can you identify one or two that really like walking? That would be, great to sort of incorporate into our walk-in club and to break up that pack mentality of we come to the Y as a large group, we use the Y as a large group, we leave. It was very uncomfortable for some people to extract one or two individuals and work with those individual learnings. And so that became a hurdle that we needed to get over, and the intentionality focus with those groups became really, really prominent.
So in terms of outcomes, so we successfully launched our walking clubs in the Easton, Middleborough, and Stoughton branches, and we're going to launch in East Bridgewater and Plymouth later this month. This is the Easton launch party right on the right-hand side. I love all those photos. So we're very excited about that. So we have 6 friendship pairings right now that have developed. Our initial target age was those that were in high school, that were transitioning to college, that were transitioning to employment, those that are the age of 22 that see resources and programs dwindle as they get older. And our initial pairings, we were really shocked, they were middle schoolers, right? So in talking with these families and these individuals, we quickly realized that it starts younger, and in talking with them, the middle schoolers and the high schoolers right now, they missed a very essential part of social emotional learning and socialization during COVID, during shutdown when they were at home. So we were, while we were shocked, we were really thrilled that we could help support these families and individuals by helping pair them with friends. So as Sarah's unicorn cake photo displayed, our timeline was off a little bit. So we had started this process. Our goal was to get every single friendship pairing nailed down by the months of January and February. What we found in talking to individuals and families is that their schedules were already set. They already had their plans in place. Many of them were ready for the springtime, but not necessarily in the winter. So the advantage, and what I think worked out really well, is the fact that spring worked out, the spring timeline was fantastic because that's when we launched our walking club. So it was really perfect timing. Another outcome, we trained 21 friendship facilitators. I want to give a huge shout out to Katie Driscoll, who helped us. Yeah, let's give her a round of applause. Who helped us and guided us with that support for the training. As I had mentioned in our program overview, those friendship facilitators were so important to this project, and we're really hoping that all of the skill sets and the things that they learned transcends past the Y, past the walking clubs, into their schooling and their everyday lives and everyday conversations. So thank you, Katie, for all of that support. And the last outcome, which we were not expecting, we put culture shifts. So as our leadership teams that were working on this project, as we were meeting with our community partners and different organizations, we realized in communicating what we were trying to do that they were not of the same mindset and did not see the same focus or have the same focus on friendships and the importance of friendships between those that are neurodiverse and neurotypical. So what was really interesting is as we had our check-ins for our progress with this project, we were really excited to be at the table with these organizations and start those difficult conversations and help shift those mindsets to change. And we know it takes a village to change, right? So we were excited to be the organization for those community partners to help do that.
Awesome. So again, shout out to Katie Driscoll. There was many meetings that, yes, I'm doing it. So there was many meetings where we have a lot of people that are very passionate about this work, like to work hard, are not afraid to roll up sleeves, but were super hard on themselves with regards to sticking to our original timeline, making sure that we were on top of things. But Katie reminded us consistently, you're doing fine, and let's look at all of the other aha moments that we're learning, right? So we thank you for that. Friendships between individuals in the young age groups, again, largest provider of childcare. These friendships happen organically all the time in those 0 through 5-year-olds. They go to youth basketball and they don't think of having a friend with an intellectual disability. It's just their friend Sean. And all of the quotes that we heard with regards to that, we realized very quickly that the Y is a place that brings friendships together at a very young age, and how do we start to identify, train our staff around it, and bring those up through? And maybe we change and flip the script a little bit, and we're populating unified sports with authentic friendships that have been in place for years that get to explore athletic opportunity together. So there was really good learnings in that regard. I think it's really important to tell you, or have Darcy tell you, a story about individuals in our branch that really illustrates what's going on day to day.
Awesome. So these two individuals over here, so they are from my Easton Y branch. So this is Chris and Ben. They are two individuals. They're in their early 30s now. So they actually met in preschool. They were best friends in preschool. They were separated when they went to 2 different kindergartens. They attended a Y fundraising event. It was the Harvest Road Race. They were able to reconnect. They bonded over the fact that they love long distance running. They love working out. So then they signed up for another YMCA fundraiser, which was our spin-a-thon, which you can see they're giving each other a high five. I don't know anyone that can high five on a spin bike, but they did it. So what turned into YMCA events then turned into them meeting at the Y every week to go for a run, or they would work out, they would go in the pool, which then turned into them going to the Red Sox games. It turned into them going to each other's birthday parties. And my favorite photo is the one on the bottom right. So Ben had his first child, and they asked Christopher to be the godfather, which was a really amazing, amazing moment. So, and we are asking ourselves, how do we continue to create friendship pairings just like this at our Y in our community?
Awesome. Oop, if we could go back, sorry. Yes. Awesome. So I think we've identified that we have environments that create friendship pairings, right? And we really want to continue with the training we have in place. We know that it's important. We started with Lisa Drennan and did some inclusion trainings for our onboarding processes, just so that everyone that works at the front desk thought of inclusion the same way, right? When you ask people what does inclusion mean to you, you get quite a few different answers. So we thought we needed to really even the playing field and agree upon that definition. We saw commitment all the way from our CEO, who has a sound chip, a sound bite on those videos, through our volunteer boards, and all the way through the staff with regards to, it's not a box we're checking, this is something we're committed to all the time. We're making space for conversations, and we know that the why, I think the statistic is 80% of the US population lives within 5 miles of a Y. So the Y, the Mass Alliance is here, represented by Caitlin. Hello, Caitlin. And I think that all of the learnings that we have as a teaching Y and a partner to all other Mass Ys, it's really important for us to share these learnings and see if we can extend those learnings across the Commonwealth, across the nation, and all continue to learn from one another, because we do talk a lot at the Y and learn quite a bit from one another. We realized that the Y, people look to the Y to help them make friends. And that's easy when you're young, right? When you're middle school, when you're high school, it gets infinitely harder. And sometimes it can feel very like, hey, Darcy, meet Sarah, and maybe we're vibing or maybe we're not. And to force it at a certain point becomes really artificial and not super authentic. By the way, we get along great. But I think that we really realized as an aha moment, we need to put a lot more thought into making these spaces and working through these friendships. I'll skip through a lot of the others, but there's a board member from the League School who started working on a neurodiversity in employment incubator project. He introduced us to Spectrum Empowerment Project, was a screening and t-shirt company with all of its employees having autism, and we started making really intentional decisions. When we make the t-shirts, can I volunteer you to hold up a t-shirt? I forgot to bring them. We made the t-shirts for the walk-in clubs, and they made them for us, and they gave us a million different demo t-shirts. On the back it says, you never know where your first step will take you, but it's always better with a friend. So really, thank you. It's really something that speaks to our general membership population, but certainly I think as we can populate those necessary ratios. And now we've got a vendor that we can use for everything, which is super exciting for us. They're in our system, they're ready to go. So what is next? What I want to just bring attention to is this text, and you don't have to read it, I'll read it for you, but that is a questionnaire. As we said, we were slower to get those friendship pairings up and running than we thought. This is from our first and second friendship pairings. The first was a group of middle schoolers, and because of zip code, for the first time ever, they were about to get separated for high school. So we thought high school was a tough transition. That was a really big one. We asked them, what do they think their biggest struggle will be in entering membership together? And what we saw from individuals with neurodiversity was talking and answering questions and confidence to start having conversations. Just that scariness of entering a building with lots going on and lots of people everywhere, having somebody to help you with the confidence to just say hi and make the first step in conversation. That's something we really want to dig into in terms of creating social spaces, making it more comfortable for people to know exactly where they can go for support, have those conversations. And as we train our frontline staff, just say hi, smile, say hi, open up space to have whatever conversation is needed at the moment. So we'll continue with the middle school age group. Darcy and I, even making this presentation, had an aha moment. We have school age programs. They go right through that 5th grade. Then people start working through us in high school. We're not missing the mark with middle schoolers, but we could be more intentional. And what we're seeing through friendship pairings is middle school tends to be where a lot of those friendships formed in childhood tend to drop off. Having twins in high school right now, I can tell you that the friends that they have today are not the friends they had in the 5th grade. So if we can really dive in, and perhaps that's future funding, right? How do we look at the middle school age people and see how we can make a more impactful impact there? I think that we are working with AdaptX with regards to our trainers and giving them specific training and working with people with physical and intellectual disabilities. We've entered into a cohort with Ys from Milwaukee, Granite Y from New Hampshire, and a few Ys from across Massachusetts to say, let's give our trainers the confidence that they need to be a trusted partner so that people know when they come to the Y, people are confident working with people with intellectual and physical disabilities. They're excited. They are working on individualized goals. And we're breaking from that sort of pack mentality that we often see. I think I've said a lot. We just added images of things that happen organically. We've got so many Special Olympics groups and group homes and just individuals and families that we know and have so many learnings that we've taken from this experience. Thanks to DDS and thanks to the ARC of Massachusetts for this funding. We've learned quite a bit. We will continue learning and we can't wait to do it.
We'll have more time to be able to share and do thank yous and networks. Don't forget your stickies as well. I want to introduce a fellow Pathways to Friendship trainer, Jonathan Spiller, who's going to just share a few thoughts with us before we break for lunch. So Jonathan?
Hi everyone. So happy to be here today. I do consultant for the Pathways to Friendship program with ARC Mass, as Katie mentioned. It's a wonderful program. I teach a lot of people as kids at schools, boys and girls clubs, and I look forward to do more presentations. I teach everyone the strategies on making friends. Friends are very important in life. And congratulations to all of the grantees. I enjoyed all of your wonderful speeches and wanted more about your organizations. Now, let's take a break and have a wonderful lunch.